is Steve, and I'm here again with Tom
Cain,
and we're going to talk a little bit about the soil vault, the idea of the soil vault in trees. Take it away, Tom.
Well, as you know, or may know already, the problem we had with the trees down here before is the very limited amount of soil that they had to grow a root system into. And like a potted plant, when the plant outgrows the pot, it stops growing. And we had trees that were essentially in that condition, and that's based on the opinions of several experts that we had looked at the situation. That all said, we know better, and there's been a lot of research in the urban forestry design industry and practice industry that says if you want a tree to get to be a nice size and to last a long time, you've got to provide it with the growing conditions that it needs. Well, in an urban condition where we really have a lot of competition for the sidewalk space and the roadway space, there isn't a lot of room to create large lawns or large planting areas. So what we have to do is create the soil volume that the trees need under the sidewalk or under the pavement. And so you ask, well, how do you do that? Well, you can't put in the soil, then pound it into concrete or turn it into a solid surface that won't settle so the sidewalk will be supported. You have to find a way of bridging the pavement over soil that's loose enough that the trees can grow in it. And by doing that, then we can create a fairly large area of soil under the sidewalk that expands from tree to tree to tree, creating a large shared volume of soil that the trees can use to grow and mature and become quite large over time. What we're looking at right now is the planting soil mix. This is a nice quality mix of topsoil and humus and sand with a drainage system underneath it so that it will never become waterlogged. And the sidewalk will be poured on top of this. The green bars are steel reinforcing, and that allows the sidewalk to rest on solid grade at the curb and bridge over the planting soil, which we know will settle over time, and rest on solid compacted grade where the stone is on the far side of the trench. That means now we've got 4 to 5, maybe 6 times the amount of soil volume available for the trees that we had in the previous condition. Because you have to remember, of course, that we have nothing natural about growing trees in the middle of downtown. These trees are growing in what used to be basements with the buildings adjacent to them. And that was all filled in with gravel back in the early 1980s when the streetscape was done over last time. So we're growing trees essentially in fully artificial conditions. It means we have to fully create the conditions that they need to grow successfully in. And this is a technique that we're borrowing from some of the best research in the nation on growing urban trees successfully.
You were telling me a little bit about the wire that they encase the roots on some of the trees that had been here.
Some of the research that's been going on in nursery practices and horticulture practices shows that the wire cages that are oftentimes used to secure the soil ball around the base of the tree when it's dug from the nursery, keep it from breaking apart and exposing the roots, those wire baskets don't decay away over time. They don't rust away. In fact, when we were digging up old trees, we've been finding that wire baskets were actually still on the trees from 25 years ago. The problem is that those wire baskets have a grid opening in them, and when the large base flare roots of the trees grow out through that, and they grow in diameter, which they're supposed to do, those baskets are in a place where they can cause the root to become strangled. When that gets strangled, then the root dies, and that could be a significant loss to the health of that part of the tree. So with that in mind, we are specifying the root balls of the trees be prepared only with natural jute and natural sisal twine, so that the balls are secured, we can put them in the ground, and we know that that will all decay and not interfere with the future growth of the root systems. So again, we're using the best practices and the best research to do the best project that we can for the people of Fort Wayne. This book called Up From Roots by author James Urban. He's a landscape architect who's been working with Cornell University researchers in New York and has been speaking nationally about these issues. He's prepared what I think is going to be considered the Bible on growing trees in urban areas, and it just received the National Award from the American Association of Landscape Architects for Communication.
Great. Thanks again, Tom.